when we look at the era where you first discovered burlesque, or was it stripping that came first, and then you?
Yeah, the stripping came. Well, it was kind of like I was first a pinup model, and so I was collecting all these vintage men's magazines from the 30s and 40s, and in those magazines, a lot of the girls that posed for those pictures, racy pictures, which were not very racy at all, they were burlesque dancers, and I was like, oh, burlesque, interesting. And I'd seen the movie with Natalie Wood called Gypsy, which there's a musical about it too. And I just like, so there was like, it was kind of murky, like trying to understand, and I'd watch old movies and there'd be like, you know, young Lucille Ball played a burlesque dancer in this movie, or there's a movie with Barbara Stanwyck called Ball of Fire. And so I kind of like noticed, like I started like trying to dig deeper on the history of burlesque, and it was all kind of happening at the same time. And I feel like the first time I ever really did like a proper burlesque show was actually in a fetish club in Los Angeles, and I bought my first pair of feather fans, and I was, you know, I just had pictures to look at. I didn't really have any video to base what I was doing on until like a few years later when somebody gave me a VHS tape with a little like compilation of real burlesque performers, and by then I was kind of glad I had to make it up in my head because I created my own style, you know, of dancing and fan dancing and all of that, because I just had to imagine.
Yeah, exactly. You weren't emulating anything. And I mean, how did you feel that first show? Did you feel comfy in your skin, confident?
Yeah, I always felt, I don't know why, but I never felt weird about nudity at all. And I don't know if that's like from my like taking ballet classes all my life and being like used to being in the mirror and like noticing body shape and wearing tights and leotards. And I don't really think I had like a bad, like I didn't feel like ashamed of my body. You know, I'm not sure where that comes from.
Yeah.
But, and maybe it was also because, you know, when I was 19, I was also in a strip club. I was in the rave scene. It was like we were, you know, wearing crazy outfits, running around in fishnet tights and hot pants. And, you know, I just think I was around all of this like drag queen and club kid culture, and then in a strip club, and I feel like I was just kind of around people who were liberated. And also like the strip club that I worked in was not like, there was no nudity. It was like a bikini club.
Yeah.
There was like, that was a big thing in America in the like 80s and 90s, were these like bikini clubs where you could, you know, girls danced around in their lingerie or bikinis, and there was a lot of rules. So I don't know.
So
I
you
feel
always
like I
felt
was just
safe?
kind of like, yeah, I felt.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes I look back and I go, that does not seem like it was safe. Like when I was headlining strip clubs and driving through Texas with my girlfriend and staying in like motels and walking around with like cash, like dollar bills and